Wisconsin, I'm about to get a tier 10 Hakuryu. I'm worried about what you said, that the Hakuryu is sluggish. What do you mean by that? Okay, so I'll pop over to paint real quick to explain. Maybe? Come on. Whatever. Do something like that. So, if you've got US, you'll have German, you'll have British, and then you'll have IGN. We'll save the best for last. Yuck yuck. That way we can just kind of talk about it. So in terms of rocket planes, you're gonna have the ability to slow turn, and you go very fast. So you could slow turn to try to make a strike. So you have long distance that you have to cover in order to make an attack, which is kind of rough, and slow turning. So turns are an issue. Germans can right angle stuff. They can kill. British can hard turn and go very slow. So they can maybe line into a destroyer. IJN, with the rockets, you can also hard turn, and you can go kind of slow, but in general you're going faster. The rockets are weak. Shikaku rockets are amazing, but the IGN rockets are kind of weak. It's not the highlight of what they are. Then you get to torps. US torps, you are going to take a rigid line. At lower tiers, you can diverge a little bit, but for the most part, you're going to take a rigid line. German torps, you can turn aggressively as needed. British torps, you can turn really aggressively as needed. IGN torps, you take a line. You can have very little movement on this, but it's going to be a long line. So this distance is going to be very long. The US can be short in terms of distance, but the Japanese are going to be long distance strikes. So maneuverable, very maneuverable, long distance and locked in on a line so you can aim. Bombs can turn like basically 180s. They can super turn. Germans turn about 30 degree. Not very much. They kind of hook a little bit, but in general they're still close. So they're still short distance, traverse. British have the ability to make long meandering turns over long distance, because once the reticle firms, you're still charging ahead. It's not a dive bomber, it's a carpet bomber, so it just flies over. IJN, again, long attack line locked in. Now, part of this long attack line, this is just firming before the attack so that you can then firm in to make the drop. What does that mean? So it's like basically you have rudder on planes. I'm sure that's kind of how it's modeled in the game. So your rudder shift slowly moves over, then it slowly comes back, slowly moves over, then slowly moves back. Kind of the same thing with the Japanese bombs. So you're going to slowly turn, and then you have to slowly stop turning, and then you can commit to your attack. And you want to hold a straight line while you're doing it. So you want to firm that reticle up real quickly so you get a good drop on a battleship. Cruisers, you don't have to do it so quickly, but even still, you don't have a lot of movement. And the other thing with the IJN is once you can actually shoot, you are locked on a line. You don't get to turn anymore. You are locked on a single line, and you need to have the correct line to make that go. Whereas British, you can continue to move some. German, you can move a lot. I mean, you can move anywhere and everywhere, whatever. US line, you can move a medium amount. So it's long attack lines that if you get out of the practice of it because you're using US, German, British, it can feel just so constricting because you get used to the movement of the other nations. Doesn't mean it's bad. And if you train on it, it's going to become second nature anyway. You're just going to play it correctly, so it doesn't matter. But I play a lot of US, I play a lot of German, and I do actually enjoy playing the British as well. So it's just I get out of practice with the Japanese.